Welcome back for another scenario in the Curse of the Crimson Throne. We are on scenario 1C, the Dead Warrens. We've been tasked with locating the body parts of a warrior so that his body can be properly put to rest. The dangers for this adventure is an ancient skeleton and a zombie minion. So we will be seeing these guys shortly. Our villain for this scenario is Vrieg, and our closing henchmen, the Carrion Golem, Cabbage Head, and Adaros. So in these 4 locations, we have those 3 henchmen and our villain. And of course, we have our base over to the side. So the locations, like I said, we got the base, crypt, dungeons, ruin, and ossuary. Also during setup, after preparing the story banes, we shuffle together 3 proxy bees, which represent the body parts we're searching for, and a number of blessings equal to the number of locations minus 3. Then we shuffled one of those into each location. And for this scenario, when you would corner and defeat Vrieg, or banish the Carrion Golem, or banish an encounter, or examine a proxy bee, the body parts, we display them next to the scenario, and we win only when all the body parts, the Golem, and Vrieg are displayed next to the scenario. And our reward for doing all this, we get a hero point and rally the supporter 1,000 bones. From our last scenario, I spent a point on Kess's strength. So for her melee attacks now, she'll be rolling a D10 plus 4 plus an additional D12. And for Kira, also gave her a +1 on her strength. So when she's using her poison dagger, things should go better. As for the locations, we've got our 3 supporters from our previous scenarios. And of course, at the base, when we explore, we'll draw the top 3 cards, keep 1 and return the rest in any order. Then we get to either draw a card, heal a card, recharge any number of cards, or remove one of your scourges. So the first location, at the Crypt. Difficulty of checks against undead banes is increased by 3. To close your guard, succeed at a wisdom or divine 6 check. And when closed, you may examine the top card of the hourglass. If it is a blessing, you may draw it. In the dungeons, difficulty of combat checks is increased by 2. To close your guard, summon and defeat the danger. And when closed, each local character may draw a card. At the rune, when a monster is undefeated, shuffle a new monster into location. Close a guard, summon and defeat the danger. And when closed, shuffle a new monster into another location. And lastly, the ossuary. On your check, blessings add a D4 instead of the normal die, except Pharasma or Ergothoa blessings. To close your guard, each local character summons and counters the Storybane ancient skeletons. At least one must be defeated, and you may exchange a card in your discards with one in your berry pile. Now I've chosen to start with Kess over the ossuary and Kira at the Crypt. So for our starting hands, Kess will get 5 cards, needing an ally. So this isn't going to work. We'll try again. And now we've got a couple allies, along with some armor and a blessing. So we will shuffle these back into our deck. And then draw our hero blessing, the Avalanche. For Kira, she gets 5 cards, and she's looking for a blessing. And we have a blessing, along with a spell, her snake bite dagger, and some magic hide armor. And she will also get her heroes, the dance blessing. All right, so let's get started. For the hour, you may avenge by discarding a card. And Kess will go ahead and explore in the ossuary, finding a crowbar, needing a strength melee of 3. So we are a D10 plus 4 for melee. So we've automatically found ourselves a crowbar. So on your strength non-combat check, or your check to defeat a lock or obstacle barrier, reveal to add a D8. May additionally recharge to add another D8. Go ahead and display our armored coat. And since we have one too many cards, I don't want to discard, so we'll go ahead and use our Dandy Ally. Discard to explore. This exploration on your charisma or diplomacy non-combat checks, add a D6. So we'll see what we find here. Find some slick leather. Looking for a constitution fortitude of 7. So for us, that's going to be a D8 plus 1. So see if we can find ourselves some nice leather. Getting a 5. So our leather is too slick and goes away. We'll go ahead and end our turn and pass on to Kira. So for the hour on your check, if no boons are played, it is blessed. She'll go ahead and display her magic hide armor. So while displayed, when you suffer cold or combat damage, you may recharge to reduce it by 2. On your combat, constitution, or fortitude check, you may recharge to add your survival modifier. And she'll take a look in the crypt and find a sonic blast. So needing intelligence, wisdom, arcane, or divine of an 8. Our divine is a D10 plus 3. Let's see. Combat check. Banished to use divine plus 2d6. Check is against a monster. Ignore its after acting powers. Seems like a really good card. I'm going to go ahead and bless to try to get this. So I'll add another D10. Needing an 8. Getting an 8 on the dice plus another 3. So we now have a sonic blast. Then use our cleric ability. We'll recharge a divine card. To heal a local character, we'll pick ourselves. Random card will be shuffled into our deck. And we will pass turn to Cass. No effect for the hour. Taking a look in the ossuary. Finding Vrieg. So this is our villain. So we need a Constitution, Wisdom, Fortitude of 6. Then we need a combat of 12. And before acting, succeed at a Constitution, Wisdom, or Fortitude 4 check, or bury a random card. So we've got 3 checks coming up. First check needs a Fortitude of 4, so we've got a D8 plus 1. So we'll see if we get what we need. Getting a 4, so we're good there. So now Constitution, Wisdom, or Fortitude. So same dice. D8 plus 1. Current hour is at a 0. So in a local check, we'll discard to bless this. And we'll be able to recharge this. Normally that would get us a D8, but because of the location, we're only getting an additional D4. So looking for a 6. Getting 7, 8. So now we need a combat of 12. And I forgot at the end of Kira's turn to draw up to her hand size, so she has one more card in hand, a blessing. Sorry about that. Back to our fight in hand, we need a combat of 12. Because of Kessa's ability, she gets her melee, which is a D10 plus 4. Plus a D12. And since it's a villain, we're going to go ahead and use our avalanche. On your combat check, discard to bless twice. So that will get us 2 D4s. So we're looking for a 12. Oops. Getting 10, 11, 12, 15, 19. So we've defeated Vrieg. This will automatically close the location. So we'll look through this pile here just to make sure there's nothing else. So you can see we found a body part. So we'll keep that next to our scenario. Just make that stack over here. And when closed, you may exchange a card in your discards with one in your berry pile, so no effect for us. So he has the option of escaping to 3 locations. We'll go ahead and have Kira see if she can guard, succeed at a Wisdom or Divine 6 check. For her Divine checks, she's a D10 plus 3. We'll see what she gets there. Getting a 7. So that means he will escape to one of these locations. So we'll take a random blessing. And him. Shuffle those up. And then put those in these locations. Giving them a good shuffle. So the dungeons and ruins. So now we know the villain is in one of these 2 locations, and we will have Kess move over to the crypt, ending turn and drawing 2 cards, getting a prayer, and Horn of Battle Clarity. So for Kira's turn, no effect for the hour. Take a look in the crypt, finding a ghost. You need a combat of 13 or divine of 7. So immune to mental and poison. All damage is mental damage that may not be reduced. If the check to defeat does not have the magic trait, this monster is undefeated. And to make it worse, it's undead, so we're adding 3 to its difficulty. So we will go with divine, needing a total of 10. Our divine is going to be a D10 plus 3. And then on a local check against an outsider or undead bane, so it's already undead, we get to add a D4. And the magic trait. Then go ahead and use a blessing. On any check, discard to bless. Adding another D10. So needing a 10 on this. Getting 14, 17. So we've defeated a ghost. And thanks to our cleric, it has the magic, so it's gone. Then end our turn, recharging a divine card to heal a local character. So we'll take a random card here. And shuffle that back into our deck. And draw back up to our hand size of 5. Getting 2 blessings. So for Kess's turn, no effect for the hour. We'll go ahead and take a look in the crypt. Finding an ogre, needing a combat of 14 to defeat. Before acting, each local character suffers 1 combat damage. For Kess, we'll reveal the light shield, reducing the damage by 1. And for Kira, we'll recharge to reduce it by 2. So then we'll move on to our attack. Using our ability to get our melee, D10 plus 4 plus a D12. And we'll use our Horn of Battle Clarity. On the local check, recharge to add a D4. And we are looking for a 14. Getting 16, 18, 22. So the ogre is defeated and goes away. We will end our turn drawing 1 card, getting a blessing, and pass to Kira. So on this hour, when you would discard a boon, to bless a strength or constitution check, you may recharge it instead. So take a look in the crypt. Finding Darrow. So this is one of our closing henchmen. So combat of 10. Before acting, we need to succeed at a Constitution, Wisdom, or Fortitude of 4 check. Or we can just discard a random card. I don't think we'll do that. So Wisdom's a D10. Constitution a D6. So we're looking at a D10 here with no bonuses. We'll go ahead and bless this, adding another D10. See what we get. Getting a 13. So on to combat. We will reveal our dagger so we can use our melee, which is a D8 plus 3. Plus a D4 plus 1. And unfortunately, not an animal or human bane. So go ahead and bless this to get another D8. And we're looking for a 10. Oops. Getting 5, 9, 13. So now we have defeated a closing henchman. We can now attempt to close this, needing a Wisdom Divine of 6. Our Divine is a D10 plus 3. Cass will bless this for us. Getting total of 15, so we have closed another location. So when closed, you may examine the top card of the hourglass. If it is a blessing, you may draw it. So you've got the cricket. On any check, discard to bless. On another character's dexterity check, recharge to bless. Discard to move, then explore. You may not use this power during an encounter. So we'll go ahead and keep this. So the crypt is complete. We'll take a look at the rest of here. We've got another body part in the crypt. And discard the rest. Then we will both move over to the base, or have the base come to us, and end our turn drawing one card, getting a blessing. So for Kessa's turn, no effect for the hour. We'll stay at the base and explore, drawing the top 3 cards. Keep one, return the rest, and then we're going to go ahead and heal a card. So we are going to keep Ben Carlo. So on any combat check, after the roll, you may bury to add a D6. So we'll add that to our hand and then do some healing. We'll go ahead and display him. And in their turn, drawing a card, getting a bodyguard. Passing turn to Kira. So on the hour, when you would bury a boon, succeed at its check to acquire or banish it instead. So we'll have her run over to the ruin and explore, finding a levitate spell, needing intelligence arcana 5 or wisdom divine of 6. So we're D10 plus 3, getting an 11. So now we can levitate. So at the start of your turn or during any move, step, banish to move a local character, banish to examine the top card of an occupied location. But we are just going to end our turn using our cleric ability to recharge a divine card, to heal a local character, choosing ourselves, and shuffle that into our deck. So ending turn and passing it on to Kess. No effect for the hour. We will run on over to the ruin. Taking a look, finding a skeletal owl beast, needing a combat of 14. It's immune to cold, mental, and poison, vulnerable to bludgeoning. Before acting, succeed in an acrobatics, melee, or perception 5 check, or suffer 2 damage. Our melee is our best stat. That's a D10 plus 4. So basically, we need a 1 or better. And we got a 1. So we're good there. On to our combat. Get our D10 plus 4 again, plus a D12. Needing a 14. Current hour is a 0. So we can play this spell or blessing. On a local check, discard the bless. If the hour is level 0, recharge instead. So we'll recharge that, getting a D10. So we roll our dice here, needing a 14. Getting an 11, 13, 17. Defeating the monster. And this is an ability I don't think I've been using. When you defeat a monster, you may heal a card. So our prayer is our only card. Our discard pile will get shuffled back into our deck. Then we will end our turn drawing 1 card. Getting our porcupine. Passing turn to Kira. For the hour, when you would discard a boon to bless a dexterity or charisma check, you may recharge it instead. Exploring the rune. Finding a clockwork servant, needing intelligence craft of 6. I don't even know if this is possible. Our intelligence is a D6. So we've got a slight chance. See what we get. A 1, not quite enough. The servant walks away. We will end our turn using our healing ability, recharging a divine card to heal a random one. And drawing 1 card. Getting Viper Strike. Passing turn to Kess. If you're at a wild location, you may discard a card to explore. We are in an urban location. Take a look. Finding Cabbage Head. Things just got wild. So combat of 14. Resistant to melee and ranged. Vulnerable to mental. Before acting, each local character suffers 1 combat damage. So for ourselves, we'll reveal our shield to reduce the combat damage by 1. And for Kira, the poor horse is going to take 1 for the team. Cass will attempt to do some damage, so we're D10 plus 4. Which is basically going to be negated by the resistance to melee. So we'll just count it out there. Also get the D12. Kira will do a little dance on another character's check. Discard to bless twice. So 2 more D10s. So needing a 14. Like I said, the resistance is being covered up by our plus 4 modifier. So we've got 16, 23, 28. So we've defeated a closing henchman. And for this location, summon and defeat the danger to close. The danger is actually 2 monsters who have zombie minions needing a 9, then a 12, or an ancient skeleton needing a 13. So we will just start with the zombie minions. So immune to mental and poison. If undefeated, each local character suffers D4 poison. So we are a D4 plus 10 with a D12. So needing a 9. Getting 12 showing, so 16. So now we just need a 12. Go ahead and have Kira bless this. Giving us another D10. Getting 16, 20, 24. So we're done with the zombie minions. So on to the ancient skeleton, needing a 13. Before acting, either recharge a divine card or suffer 1 combat damage. As a human brawler, we're not much on the divine. Armored coat will help us out here. When you discard cards as combat damage, you may reload one of those cards. So we'll go ahead and just reload our crowbar. And we're at a D12 with a D10 plus 4. Since we are trying to close here, on a local check to close our guard, recharge to add a D6. Really wanted to use our Viper Strike to help out, but it's got the poison trait. So we are looking for a 13 here. Getting a 13, 14, 18, defeating the Ancient Skeleton. So now we can close this location. When closed, shuffle a new monster into another location. So we'll find a random monster and shuffle it in here because that's our only location left. And hope I didn't mess that up by looking through here. Let's see. Nope, villain is not in there. And neither is our third body part. So we have a body part, a villain, and the carrion crawler we need to win. So hopefully the villain's on top. That way we don't need to fight everything else. So we will all move to the dungeon. Ending our turn, drawing 2 cards. Getting our crowbar and a prayer. Kira will take her turn. For the hour, on your check against an outsider card, add a D4. We will go ahead and, let me make sure. She used a lot of blessings. I think instead she'll just move over to the base. Take a look at these cards. We'll take Miss Croft and display that. And then use the ability to heal a card. And with a weapon and a good spell, not willing to risk that to heal, so we'll just draw 3 cards. Getting 3 spells, Divine Insight, Sonic Blast, and Immolate. So passing turn to Cass. On your check against an animal or elemental card, add a D4. She will explore in here, finding a Mist Horn, needing Intelligence, Wisdom, Arcane, or Divine of 8. No chance of getting that. We'll roll our D4. Getting a 3, so the horn goes away. We'll go ahead and end our turn. We already have a full hand of cards. So Kira, no effect for the hour. So move back over to the dungeons. Exploring, finding an Allop. So combat of 14 or divine of 8. Immune to mental and poison. The check to defeat does not have the magic trait. This monster is undefeated. And if undefeated, suffer the scourge dazed. So at this location, difficulty combat checks is increased by 2. So I think I'm just going to go after the divine 8. So that is our D10 plus 3. We'll have Kess bless that. Giving us another D10, so needing an 8. Getting a 19, 22. We've defeated the monster. He'll go away. We'll end Kira's turn. She'll use her healing ability. So recharge a divine card. And we will heal Kess for being so nice to bless us. Then we'll draw a card. Getting a Warhammer. So passing turn to Cass. On your check against an animal or elemental card, add a D4. We will explore, finding the Carrion Golem. So combat be a 16 in the dungeon location. It's immune to attack, mental, and poison. Before acting, discard the top card of your deck, and if undefeated, suffer the Scourge Plagued. So discarding the top card of our deck, so we're losing a prayer. For our combat, we get our D10 plus 4, plus a D12. So needing a 16, we have no blessings. So getting 18 showing, so that always helps. 22, so defeated the Golem. This is a closing henchman. And also when he is defeated, he will go next to our scenario. So to close our guard, summon and defeat the danger. So these two guys show back up again. But now he's going to be a 13 plus 2, so we need 15. Before acting, either recharge a divine card or suffer a combat damage. We'll go ahead and take that damage as a crowbar, just to get that out of our hand. So D10 plus 4 plus our D12. No blessings, so this is all we've got. Getting 14 showing, so 18. So that works for the Ancient Skeleton. So now we need an 11 or 14, immune to mental and poison. So got our normal fight going on. I think we've got some help back here. So after the roll, we may add a D6. So needing an 11. Getting a 10 plus 4, so we're good for the first fight. And since we're this close, we use our dagger on a local combat check, freely recharge to add a D4. May use this power even if you have previously revealed this card on this check. And it is not mental or poison over here, so we'll recharge this to give us a D4. Looking for 14. Getting 9, 14, 18. So we have closed this location now. So we'll go through this, banishing everything except the villain that was on the bottom of the deck. So he'll go there. We find the other body part. And everything else gets discarded. So we will then end our turn, drawing 2 cards, finding a spiked gauntlet and a soldier. So hoping for a blessing, but oh well. So for Kira's turn, on your check against a spell, add a D4, and we'll go ahead and try to end this. So before acting, succeed at a Constitution, Wisdom, or Fortitude 4 check. Our Wisdom is a D10. Needing a 4. Getting a 3. So random card will be buried. So Divine Insight is now gone. So Constitution, Wisdom, Fortitude of 6. Oh, same D10 roll. Hopefully we can do better. Getting an 8. So now we're on to our combat, needing a 14 for the win. So we will use our Sonic Blast, getting our Divine plus 2d6. Our Divine is a d10 plus 3. Plus 2d6. And no blessings. So we'll see what we get here. Needing a 14. Getting a 9, 12, 15. So we have defeated the villain with 3 body parts and the Carrion Golem. So that is the victory condition for the scenario. Each character will get a hero point, and we rally the supporter 1,000 bones. So 1,000 bones. While displayed, you may bury to heal a character 1d4 plus 1 cards. If we upgrade, you may bury and spend 1 hero point to let a dead character return from death. They heal 10 cards from the bury pile and reset. I hope you enjoyed this video. So please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.